In the most critical moments of North Carolina's loss at Louisville, the best player on the floor didn't even touch the ball.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, it's Thursday, January 2nd, 2025. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I want to thank you so much for making us your first listen or watch to get your Tar Heels content today. Special shout out to all you everydayers, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, and of course our great Locked On Tar Heels insiders. Let's get right after it. Coming up on the show today, it's going to be our Four Corners recap. I'm going to tell you as part of that about an interesting lineup that was Carolina's best of the night. Some rebounding conversation that you might not have realized just how bad things were. We'll get to our shady stat of the game, pump up the freshmen, and so much more. I don't know about you guys. I was just defeated after this game. So much like we just, as a family, and we've got some family friends in town, we just sat and watched Nate Bargatze's new Netflix special. Just needed to laugh and be happy because things were not happy after this game. And here's where I want to start. For the 9th time this season against a high major opponent or Dayton, the North Carolina Tar Heels were down by 8 or more points in the first half. Interestingly enough, as you know, once again, they fought all the way back and had multiple chances to take a lead in the second half of this game. What I've been watching for in all these games where Carolina has fallen behind is, can they make a comeback? And once they make that comeback, can they get over the hump? As you well know, most of the time they've done that. Sometimes they've gotten over the hump and then fallen back behind it and lost, like at Kansas. Sometimes they've gotten all the way back over the hump and ended up winning, like Dayton. Well, on Wednesday night at Louisville, they never got back over the hump. They tied it. I will say this, though, on 3 different opportunities in the second half, 3 different possessions, Carolina had the ball with the chance to take a lead. They missed on all 3 of them, but here's the thing. There's something about each one of these moments that I want you to catch as we painfully play out Carolina's futility down the stretch of this game, because it was an utter collapse. So let's go to big picture point number 1 here. North Carolina ties the game at 61 on an Ian Jackson 3. There's 8 minutes and 37 seconds to go in the game. Carolina gets a rebound off a Louisville miss, and they have the ball with a chance to take the lead. Let's do it. 8.5 minutes to go. Perfect. Plenty of time to turn this game in the Tar Heels' favor and come home victorious to Chapel Hill. But over the next 2 minutes and 39 seconds of game time, Louisville goes on a 9-3 run to reclaim a 6-point lead. But here's what happened in that stretch. When Carolina, again, they tied at 61, have the ball with a chance to take the lead. Missed opportunity number 1, RJ Davis comes down, missed mid-range jumper, and then Louisville goes down and makes 3 on a fast break on the other side, 3-point lead. Then Jalen Withers dunk, Chucky Hepburn layup. Carolina is now down 3. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. RJ Davis turnover, Drake Powell foul. Edwards makes both free throws. Louisville's up 5. Couple misses each way. Ian Jackson's fouled, makes 1 of 2. RJ fouls Chucky Hepburn. Now the score is 70-64. And just like that, Louisville's right back out to a 6-point lead. Well, from there, Carolina gets a 5-0 run over the next 49 seconds to cut it within 1. It's now 70-69. And then RJ Davis forces a turnover. It's great. Carolina has the ball with a chance to take a lead. This is the second one of those opportunities. This time, RJ has the ball. He's driving into the lane, and he turns it over. It kind of looks like it just goes off his knee. There was some question about maybe Louisville slapped it out, but ultimately, Carolina, with the ball and a chance to take the lead, yet again, can't do it. That's the second one of these. Right after that, Drake Powell fouls out. Chucky Hepburn misses both free throws. So Carolina has the ball now for a 3rd time, down 1 with a chance to take a lead. In this situation, Van Allen Lubin gets to the rim, looks like he's going to have a layup or a dunk or something, is blocked at the rim. Ball goes to Elliot Cadeau, who throws it to Jalen Withers. There's about 2 seconds left on the shot clock. he doesn't have enough awareness to get it off in time or just isn't able to get it off in time. And it's a shot clock violation. So that's the third time Carolina had the ball with a chance to take the lead, and they can't. And that moment takes us to the under 4 media timeout. There's 3:46 to go. And this is where the wheels just completely fall off. Things go horribly awry. It goes from, hey, we've got the ball with a chance to take a lead 3 times to we've utterly forgotten what to do in any basketball situation ever. Reminder, at this point, Louisville is up just 1 point. Coach Davis always talks about discipline and details, and this stretch is where the Tar Heels exhibited neither of those things for the final 226 seconds of this game. And you might want to close your eyes because it's a rough stretch for Van Allen Lubin. Out of the timeout, Terrence Edwards misses a jumper. So it's like, hooray, Carolina's going to get a rebound and have a 4th chance to take a lead. Not so. Not so. Carolina can't corral the defensive rebound. And I'm having Florida flashbacks all over again because Van Allen Lubin and Jalen Withers are right there to corral this rebound with literally no Louisville players around, and they can't grab it. Yes, the ball kind of takes a weird bounce off the rim, but still, you have to get this rebound. And of course, it winds up back in Louisville's hands. Van Allen Lubin fouls Chucky Hepburn while shooting a 3. He, who, by the way, hadn't made a 3 all game. And I got to be honest, it was lazy defense from Van Allen. He just kind of slides out. It's not a tough contest. He just kind of falls into him. 3 free throws. It's now 73-69 Louisville, a 3-0 run. Then Van Allen Lubin misses a shot. Not really sure why he didn't pass out, why nobody went to give help, but it was an awkward offensive situation. And it was almost like he just felt like he had to shoot instead of finding a teammate. Very weird. Bad offensive possession leads to a Rain Smith 3 on the other end. 76-69. This is now a 6-0 Louisville run. Lubin, turnover. Carolina gets the ball back right after that, calls a timeout. RJ Davis passes it into Van Allen Lubin from a sideline out of bounds. Van Allen, for some reason, doesn't dribble out to the front court. Nobody comes to help him. He tries to lob it up to RJ. Backcourt violation, another turnover. Carolina's bailed out, though, on the ensuing possession by another miss from Edwards. Great defense from Captain Jack. Oh, except Louisville gets another offensive rebound, and this time there were 3 Tar Heels around that could have grabbed it. Nobody boxes out, winds up with a James Scott dunk. It's now 78-69 Louisville. It's an 8-0 run. After that, Elliot Cadeau is blocked. Louisville rebound. Cadeau has to foul because time's running out. Hepburn makes both 80-69. It's now a 10-0 run. RJ misses a jumper. This was another weird offensive possession. Nobody comes to help RJ. It is good defense from Louisville. RJ takes a weird off balance 2 sort of just inside the arc, misses it. Cade Tyson fouls out. Hepburn makes both 82-69. This is now a 12-0 run. Yo, this is bad. Then, there's the whole situation with the technical fouls, and Louisville makes it, by the time it's all said and done, it's a 13-1 Louisville run for the closing score of 83-70. So this goes from, hey, if Carolina gets this rebound, they're going to have a 4th shot at taking the lead for the first time in the second half. It goes from that to, oh no, Louisville just put together a 12-0 run. Carolina imploded down the stretch in a matter of 2 minutes and 34 seconds. But here's the kicker, and here's the thing I wanted you to see. Are you ready for this? Remember, I told you Carolina had the ball 3 times. 3 possessions, Carolina had the ball. Either the score was tied or they were down by 1 with a chance to take the lead. Here's where things went so bad in those moments. Do you know how many of those 3 opportunities Ian Jackson touched the ball? The answer, friends, is 0. And I don't mean just like, oh, Ian didn't get a shot. I mean, on those 3 possessions, literally did not touch the basketball. That is offensive malpractice from the Tar Heels. Yes, there might be other games when maybe that's RJ Davis who has to touch it, or Elliot Cadeau who has to touch it. But for the last 3 games or so, Ian Jackson has been your best player all around, your best, or at least scoring option. And in these 3 opportunities to take the lead, he never touches the ball. That is wildly inappropriate of Carolina's offense. There has to be recognition and wisdom and insight, whether from the players or the coaching staff, to say, hey, look, this guy's the best scorer right now. He has to have the ball. That never happened. Carolina I'm not saying they would have held the lead had he touched the ball or scored there, but it puts you in infinitely better position. Carolina has to be able to recognize who has to have the ball in those moments. And because they don't, that's part of why things are not going well. Well, Carolina, as part of that stretch we just unpacked, missed some key defensive rebounds, but you might not have guessed just how bad it was. I'll unpack what I mean for that and much more in our Four Corners recap coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel, the NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. That's right, it's the last weekend of the regular season for the NFL because right now, new customers can finish the regular season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. What I love about FanDuel, man, is there's so many fun ways that you can catch a W. Just go look around and find the different prop bets or parlays or money line or anything else you want to find. Like college basketball, you can catch Wooden Award odds, national champion odds to make the Final Four. Where Carolina, because of how they've slipped lately, they're plus 1,500. That's tied for the 21st best odds. Auburn has the best odds right now at plus 110. Check it all out at FanDuel.com, where you can have a chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. It's time for the Four Corners recap. Let's get right into it. Number one, we talked about rebounding. In particular, if you listened to our post-game reaction show, our live reaction postcast, you would have heard me talk a good deal about this. Go back and check that out, by the way. But we talked about how Carolina missed 2 key defensive rebounds during the stretch, the closing stretch. Very similar to what happened at Florida. But check this out. It's actually even worse than that. Louisville, for the game, led the overall rebounding battle by 6 rebounds, 43-37. 6 rebounds. Keep that number in mind. Elliot Cadeau had North Carolina's last rebound. It was an offensive rebound, the one that led to the Jalen Withers shot clock violation with 3:49 to go. That was Carolina's final rebound of the entire game. So the rest of the game following that was that Louisville 13-1 run. Well, guess what? Prior to that run, like when at the point at which Elliot Cadeau grabbed that rebound, rebounds were tied at 37. That's right. In addition to Louisville's 13-1 scoring run to end the game, they also out-rebounded Carolina down the stretch. And you can guess what number we're going with. 6-0. That's right. No, zero, nada, nilch rebounds for the Tar Heels in the final, 3:45 of this game. Meanwhile, Louisville got 6, 2 of which were those offensive rebounds. You will not win a basketball game, especially one that's close, if you cannot get these rebounds. I don't know what else to say. Number 2 in our Four Corners recap. I thought Seth Trimble's absence in this game loomed large. And I know Louisville fans will say, hey, check us out. We got several as well, including Cason Pryor, who I frankly think coming into the season, I had as Louisville's best scorer, or Corin Johnson, right? Some of these guys are out. So I get that. I hear that. I'm not saying anything about Louisville. I'm just saying for North Carolina, Seth Trimble's absence was a big deal. The best player in the game for Louisville was Chucky Hepburn, who just lit Carolina up, got to the free throw line a ton, finished with 26 points, 16 of which came at the free throw line. So much of that is because the Tar Heels simply did not have a defensive answer for him. He could get into the lane, do whatever he wanted. I even tweeted out during the game, hey, you know who could really help slow Chucky Hepburn down right now? Seth Trimble. So things like that matter. And again, I know Louisville would like to have some of their guys back as well. I hear that. I'm just talking about the Tar Heels. But also keep in mind, 3 different Tar Heels fouled out of this game. Seth Trimble helps offset a lot of that. Whether it's, just minutes where guys who are in foul trouble can stay on the bench longer instead of having to come back, or whatever it is. There are a multitude of ways in which Seth Trimble helps Carolina in this game. I firmly, truly believe, just like that game last year where he missed, that Carolina wins this game if Seth Trimble's playing in it. But you know what? Even bigger than that, Carolina still should have won it even without Seth Trimble. You should be able to And that's not about Seth. I would have said that if it, another individual player, the sum of the parts has to be enough to withstand moments like this. And it wasn't for North Carolina in this game. Number 3 in our Four Corners recap. Whoa, the first half woes continue for the Tar Heels. I mentioned it off the top, how now all 9 games against high major opponents are Dayton. 8 or more points has been the first half deficit at its biggest. But I want to get into it a little more because so much of it is just, sometimes it just is coming down to not making shots early versus making shots later in the game. What comes down to running good offense versus not running good offense. And again, that is the little things, the discipline and the details that great teams have to be able to do that Carolina is just simply not doing. I've shared the discrepancies and how the point differential plays out, how the field goal stuff has borne out. If not, you can go back and listen to the earlier shows of the week, but those reared their ugly heads again against Louisville. The point differential now, season aggregate, Carolina is minus 28 season long in the first half, and they're plus 111 in the second half. That's wild, wild, wild. In this game specifically, Carolina, all field goals, 32.4% in the first half, 50% in the second half. From 2, 36.4% in the first half, 54.5% in the second half. They shot woefully from 3 all night, so we don't even need to talk about that. It was 25% in each halves. So the season-long shooting numbers broken down by first and second half now. First half, field goals, 41.8%. Second half, 52.8%. That's 11 percentage points higher season-long in the second half. From 2 season-long. Carolina on 2-point field goals in the first half is 51.5%. Wow, that's great. You're making over half your shots, but guess what? It's 10 percentage points higher in the second half. Carolina is shooting 61.8% from 2 in the second half and from 3-point range. Even with kind of a push in this game, still a big difference. First half, 26.1% from 3. Second half, season long, 36.8% from 3. Got to figure out how to run better offense, get better shots, make more shots in the first half. We're going to keep harping on it. This is a coaching thing. It's a players thing that they've got to stop and figure it out. Because last week I said the deficits themselves, just coming out and being ready to go, that part of it to me is not on the coaches. That part's on the players. But when it comes to the shooting side of it like this, like everyone has to be in on figuring out what this is. And then fourth in our Four Corners recap, this one stuck out to me as a little bit odd and weird. I would not have expected this. Would you like to wager a guess as to North Carolina's best lineup in this game? Best 5 players that were together. I don't think you'd get it. You ready for this? RJ Davis, Ian Jackson, Drake Powell, Jalen Withers, and Van Allen Lubin. That was Carolina's best 5 in this game. They also had the most time played, 7 minutes and 3 seconds. And when I say best, it wasn't just about pure, like, they scored more points than the others because they played longer. No, it's like they outscored, this quintet outscored Louisville 18-11, plus 7 in favor of Carolina was the best differential of any Carolina 5 on that night, on Wednesday night. Only 2 other lineups, in fact, had a positive plus minus against Louisville, and both of those were only plus 1. So this was by far Carolina's best lineup in terms of, scoring differential against Louisville. This unit also scored more points per minute than any other Carolina unit on Wednesday night, 2.55 points per minute. And look, I get it. This is just a snapshot in time, but it's the kind of thing that we got to pay attention to as we're trying to figure out, like, how can we make adjustments? What can we do? And it's interesting to me that neither Elliot Cadeau nor Jalen Washington were in this lineup. That was Carolina's best lineup. Now, again, that could be, this is the best lineup against Louisville, and another lineup could be the best lineup Saturday at Notre Dame or next Tuesday hosting SMU. I think, a lot of times Elliot Cadeau is going to be in North Carolina's best lineup. It's just he got in foul trouble and it took him out of the game, as it does a lot of people when they have foul trouble. How will Seth Trimble figure into the best lineups when he's back playing and healthy? I don't know. But for this game, that again, RJ Davis, Captain Jack, Drake Powell, Van Allen Lubin, and Jalen Withers was your best lineup on Wednesday night. So that's something to watch for. What are the best lineup combinations as Carolina continues to tweak and tinker and try to figure some stuff out? So there you go. There's your four corners recap. All right, last three games. The two best things going for North Carolina are two freshmen by the name of Ian Jackson and Drake Powell. I'll lay that out for you. Plus, I got the shady stat of the game all coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about game time, y'all, I love going to live events, man. Like, yeah, sports, but also I love going to concerts. I love going to comedy shows or theater. I love going to Broadway with my wife and doing fun things like that. One of my favorite memories from this past year was getting to go be in the Dean Dome the night RJ Davis set the scoring record against Miami, man. Like the energy, the excitement, it was unforgettable, and that's forever etched in my memory. And one of the cool things is that Game Time has now a way to make it even easier for you to get these tickets to your favorite events. It's called Game Time Picks. It filters out the fluff to show you only the best deals on great seats. It's so good. Recently, heading into Christmas, I was looking for tickets for my family for Dude Perfect. So I'm checking it out at Game Time because I know they're going to have great tickets for me. And yeah, absolutely. That's literally where I bought my tickets from, was at Game Time. I love it. Everything they have. Plus, they have all-in pricing. It's a toggle you can do. So you can see like, hey, even with all the fees and stuff, what is my price going to be? So helpful. Carolina, as I just said a little bit ago, is hosting SMU on Tuesday. You can get in the door for $8 to this game, man. That's a great deal. You can get into the lower baseline for $66. Take advantage of it. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, download the app, create an account, and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Terms do apply. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, we're going to talk about the freshmen and what they've been doing lately. But first, let me give you the shady stat of the game. And obviously, in a game like this, where we're having therapy session kind of stuff, it's going to be a negative stat. Louisville out-rebounded Carolina overall, but also in offensive rebounding. And it was close, 10-7. Not too big of a discrepancy, but here's the kicker with it. Second chance points, Louisville led Carolina 11-2. Despite how close the offensive rebounding chances were, Louisville was able to convert those offensive rebounds into more points by far than North Carolina. They were +9 in that category in a game that, would have been a lot closer than that. And I know there were other ways that Louisville was leaving the door open, free throw line, three-point shooting, all that stuff. But here's another area where Louisville, who out offensive rebounded Carolina just 10-7, out second chance points to them 11-2. Carolina's got to be able to take advantage of when they do get offensive rebounds, getting them back in the basket. All right. Right now, the two best things going for North Carolina on a consistent basis, because there are others that are doing very well, but it's not as consistent right now. On a consistent basis, Ian Jackson, Drake Powell, hands down. So I want to celebrate them and just look at what they're doing, in particular the last three games. Ian Jackson, let's start there. Season long, just to give you some framework, 13.9 points a game. He's shooting, how about this, man? Not just from three, like from every field goal, shooting exactly 50%, 64 out of 128. So it's not like, yeah, he's shooting 50%, but he's 3 out of 6. This dude is being so consistent. That's season long. All 14 games. Well, he's played in 13. He missed a game. Shooting 50% from the field. From three on the season, 41.5%, 22 out of 53 for Ian Jackson. He's made at least 1 3 in every single game, and he's scored 20 or more points in 4 of the last 7 games in each of the last 3 games straight. And that's what I want to look at, what Ian Jackson has done in totality in the last 3 games, where he has scored 20 plus points in each of them. He's averaging in that stretch 24.3 points. His field goal percentage has gone up to 54.6%, 24 out of 44. 3-point percentage ever so slightly down, but still 40%, 8 of 20. His rebounding averages up to 4.3 rebounds a game, and some of that just might be opportunity in minutes because his minutes are also up. But Ian Jackson, the last 3 games, has been basically carrying Carolina offensively. And the thing is with Ian, he's getting better and better all the time. You can see him getting it. You can see him unlocking it on both sides of the floor where he's getting better defensively. And he really hasn't hit that freshman wall yet. Will he hit that, or will he just keep ascending? Who knows? But my goodness, Ian Jackson is delivering in a way that we never knew how badly Carolina was going to need it, when a lot of other guys just frankly aren't. And what I loved about what Ian Jackson did Wednesday was he did this despite having some early struggles where the shots just weren't falling. He was getting to the rim and they weren't going down, but he kept after it. I love that mentality. Ian Jackson, keep it going. But the other best thing that's happening for Carolina in the last 3 games is his freshman, highly ranked other freshman coming in, Drake Powell. In his last 3 games, it is also his best 3-game stretch scoring-wise for Drake. Season average is 6.6 points. In the last 3 games, he's averaging 11.3. And it's not just because there's this 1-game outlier or something of that nature. Drake in those 3 games has 8, 12, and 14 points. That's the best. His season high for a game is 18, but in the games surrounding that, he didn't do as well. The consistency of these last 3 games is what impresses me so much about what Drake is doing. That's great stuff, but it's not just the points. He is shooting in those 3 games 66.7%, 12 of 18 from the field, a small sample size, but 50% from 3 on 3 of 6 shooting, 7 of 8 at the free throw line, 87.5%, averaging 4 rebounds a game. Both of these dudes are stepping up as we get into ACC play. Unfortunately, it didn't win the day against Louisville on Wednesday, but it did help a ton against UCLA. Obviously, less needed against Campbell. But if these guys can maintain this as they go up to Notre Dame on Saturday, as they host SMU next Tuesday, as they go to NC State next Saturday, good grief, they got to show up and show out. And hopefully Seth Trimble is back for that game. So the key for me for North Carolina, now you got to figure out how to continue to bring these guys in to get them even more involved. Got to figure out what to do team-wise when Seth is ready to come back, because you got to get him worked back in, but you got to keep getting critical, large volume of minutes for both Captain Jack and Drake Powell. That's important to this team's success and development. So really glad for what they're doing. Really curious to see how Carolina continues to get them further engaged with what they're doing. All right, guys, a tough loss. Carolina now 8-6 on the season, 1-1 in ACC play. Right back at it on Saturday up at Notre Dame. We'll get you ready for that on tomorrow's show, Friday's show, weekend whip around, other stuff coming at you. So get ready for that. I hope you had a wonderful New Year's Day. I know I did, with family and friends, just getting ready for 2025 and everything that it's got for us. By the way, earlier I mentioned that Nate Bargatze new stand-up. You should check that out. Clean, good stuff for the whole family. You would definitely enjoy it. If you haven't subscribed to Locked On Tar Heels on video and audio, make sure you do that so you don't miss a second. We're working to get to 10,000 YouTube subscribers in 3 years. We're less than 500 people away, and we got about 2 months. Help us get there, would you? Man, really appreciate that. And tell a friend, right? If you haven't joined the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, man, that's a great place to be to talk Tar Heels all the time. Links in the show notes, free to join. Same thing. Link for the Locked On Tar Heels Insider program is in the show notes, man. It's a great way to go even deeper with the show and help support us. You get perks and all sorts of fun stuff, direct interaction with me. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel, even on tough days. It really still is. We'll talk again tomorrow to get you ready for Notre Dame. But until then, peace.